Here, and I can go live, I guess. And we are now live. Hi everyone, welcome to our 9th episode of the HKN Connection. My name is Sandro Sartoni, and I'm one of the two student governors to the HKN Board of Governors and current social media master, PhD student in computer engineering at Politécnico de Torino, and your host for today. Today our topic is starting a new chapter, and our guests are Jaimie Davis, Alejandro Macho Aroca, and Alejandro Cuadron. Jaimie Davis is graduating from Florida Polytechnic University with his bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and concentration in advanced topics. He chose electrical engineering after coming to the realization that electricity is everywhere, and he knew that no matter the problem, he could have a key part in solving it. During his time at Florida Poly, he embraced every opportunity that came his way. He conducted research with professors on deregulated power grid security, sensor fusion utilizing Kalman filter variants, and controlled system design using microcontrollers. He is the founding president of both the first honor society on campus, IEEE-HKN's Mu Omega chapter, and the chapter of the Society of Photo-Optical Instrumentation Engineers. In addition to his exemplary performance within the classroom and as a leader on campus, Davis has pursued meaningful opportunities within Lakeland's community. He regularly commits his time to local cleanups, helping families care for their children, and giving away food to those who have been most impacted by the pandemic. Since 2019, he has designed wearable biotechnology for professional dancers in Lakeland to better integrate STEM and the arts. Davis plans to work in power systems and control design after graduation, and he eventually wants to become a professor of engineering in hopes that he can one day give back to Florida Polytechnic University by teaching the next generation of engineers. Moving to Alejandro Macho. Alejandro Macho is the president and founder of the Nu Alpha chapter at IEEE-HKN, and he's a PhD candidate, Master of Science degree in Electrical, Electronics and Control Engineering from the Spanish University for Distance Education, UNED, at Madrid, Spain, 2016, and Bachelor in Industrial Electronics and Control Engineering from the University of Castilla-La Mancha, Albacete, Spain, 2014. He worked in Deloitte from 2014 to 2018 as an experienced senior technology consultant, and then he moved to Fever Labs as head of operations during a year. Since then, he works at Iberdrola at governance and IT architecture. He studied dynamic reconfiguration electronic devices, especially FPAA, and its use in education. Alejandro is a member of Mensa and is the president of the National Association CUBIC, an association for students, professors, and educational institutions who pursue a great impact and innovation in education. He has been Vice President of the United States Spain from 2011 to 2016, working closely, among others, with the US Embassy in Madrid. He has collaborated with companies like Microsoft, and Alejandro is a PhD candidate in Advanced Electronics and collaborator at the IEEC department at UNED, and is enrolled in the investigation group GELIOS and innovation group GTAEI. And then, moving to Alejandro Cuadron. Alejandro has always been passionate about technology. He started tinkering with Android gadgets when he was 13, and by 15 he was already writing Java programs. Thus, it was no surprise that Alejandro chose to enroll at UPM, Universidad Politécnica de Madrid, and he began developing an Android game called Democracy, which was published in just 6 months, currently with over 15,000 downloads. He also developed another Android app called Air Agenda with a highly improved interface. He is the founder of, along with 19 more members, the Nu Beta chapter, the first IEEE-HKN chapter at his university and in Spain in companion with the Nu Alpha chapter, becoming the founding president of its chapter. He led the way through the uncertainty caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and attracted 49 new members for this year's induction. Nowadays, Alejandro works at High Vision, a Canadian software company, while developing more apps in his free time and maintaining the old ones. He has a pretty simple goal: keep learning and improving while giving back to society through the Android apps or throughout the chapter. With this, I would like to thank Jaimie, Alex and Alejandro, and I would like to thank you so much for being here. So let's start with the actual conversation. Jaimie, to start off, how did you get to know about HKN? And if you already knew about us, were you already considering starting a new chapter, or was it suggested by someone else?
Yeah, so I was actually on the board for IEEE. We had an IEEE chapter at our university prior to UNED Kappa Honor Society. So I was a chapter board member for about 2 years, and then our chair actually met up with Nancy Austin, who's the director of IEEE-HKN right now, and they had a little conversation, and he ended up coming back to me and saying, "Hey, have you ever heard of this?" And I had not at the time, but when it came time and I looked through the website, which has so many great resources, I just felt that this is something that Florida Polytechnic University needed, as we didn't have an honor society at the time, especially one for electrical and computer engineers and our computer science students.
Thank you. And Alex, what about you?
Well, in my case, I already knew the Kappa, but since I was IEEE member since my first year at the university, I thought it was just for the US, but well, surprise, it wasn't. So I knew about it when I was pursuing my master's degree, and my director told me about it, about to create a chapter and so on. Of course, I was 100% in, and I wanted to do so, but I was working at the Deloitte, as you just mentioned before. Pursuing the master's degree was not easy to create something as big as this is. So we wanted to do so. We were working for several months, even years, just to think about the idea, just about to think about people. And then when the pandemic came, it was like the perfect time to do so because, well, we were home, we had plenty of time, we wanted to do so. So that was it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. And Alejandro, what about you?
I've always struggled to find the people that like to create things and improve and constantly learn about new technologies while giving back to the university or like the roots of each one. And the problem I had with that was pretty much solved instantly when I discovered about the HKN IEEE Foundation, because I didn't know about it, and I received a mail because I met the different criteria the organization establishes, and instantly when I saw it, it was like, this has to be done, this has to be in our university, because it will empower not only the university but all the different students enrolled and the ones from the different universities among the world, which felt like amazing. So that's why I jumped in.
I can see myself in the words of Alejandro, in the sense that true IEEE-HKN might not yet still be known outside of the US, so you have that additional, challenge of bringing something that is not yet known. But at the same time, I can see how starting a chapter in your experience comes from a need. Like I would like to do something for my college. I would like to do something for my community, and I really do strongly believe in the importance of the activities we do to empower not only the community but also the those who are actively working on the chapter. So I really resonate with those words. Starting now with Alex, tell us more about the process of starting a chapter. Where do you even start when you are entrusted with this task?
Yeah, well, something that I think is difficult when creating something like this is like maybe it is a bit, at least in Spain, I don't know if in Italy, I think in the US you don't have a problem, but here it could sound like a bit pretentious, like, okay, you're creating something for excellent people and you are the founder, so you say you are to solve your excellence, but you don't need to. I know, you're creating it, so you're saying that about yourself. So it's not easy, and when doing that, it is more difficult because you're alone, and you're saying you need to convince other people to join you. Saying, okay, we're going to create something that is this, and it will represent those things. And I think the first step is to find the right people, because if you have a nice team, you can accomplish for everyone. So in my case, I was very, very lucky because we were like excellent people, and as you can see here today, Alejandro and Jaimie are, of course, Lisandro are like great examples of people with great stories and so on and experiences. So you can face any challenge, and that was my case. I was lucky enough to find the right people, and then we, with Nancy and different officers from the HKN, we just followed the steps. It was very, very easy. I mean, the other thing you need to create an HKN chapter is that you have to be willing to do so. You have to have like a really good team, and then everything will be so easy. So if someone is watching us now, he or she wants to do so, go ahead, because it's so easy. There's a few steps. Just be sure to find the right people.
And in that sense, was it hard for you to find people who will actually join you in this adventure? Not only students, but also professionals.
Well, in my case, since I was already involved with IEEE and different actions with universities and innovation and so on, it was not that hard. But from past experiences, it is very hard to find people who are willing to do things, or who are willing to work hard to build something. So yeah, if I had to give an advice to someone who is starting right now and he or she has in the experience, I would say just try to attend to different events or whatever, because people like you are going to be there. So try to speak and to know different people and different persons, and it will be so easy.
Thank you. And Alejandro, I guess the same question goes to you as well. Would you like to elaborate a little bit on the process of actually starting the new chapter?
Yeah, in my case, the university also found a couple more students that were interested. I think there are 18, and brought the students in the UPM and one alumni. But he ended out not really wanting to be there. So it's like Alejandro said, we've had a lot of problems. Because the people thinks, at least here in Spain, it's just like Alejandro said, that here in Spain, people is like envious of excellence. Doesn't strive to be there, don't want to be that person. They just envious those ones and want them to be down. I've had a lot of problems with other people don't supporting us and not even allowing us to be there, so we had to fight back and kind of like defend a lot ourselves, because we are really small, we are just now starting, and that has been the greatest challenge we have to face. Also with the COVID-19 pandemic, it was a lot harder to really like establish a strong bond between ourselves, because we've never met in real life, and we still haven't. Yeah, it's all the meetings have been online due to the restrictions, and also it's like it's security for us, because it's not fine for a lot of people to meet in the same room. Not at all. And that has been the greatest challenge we have to pass, and it's still now going on.
Mm-hmm. And I guess I have another question for you. How, do you even look for board members of something that is yet not started? I mean, one challenge is to find people who are willing enough to be part of the chapter, and that's obviously a challenge. But on top of that, you also have to find someone who's, that much invested in the idea, who's willingly going to be an officer of something they might not yet know what's about. Did you find it particularly hard?
It was like a hit or miss, I must confess. Yeah, it's quite hard because most people like say, I'm in, but in reality they aren't. They are like, just let me be there. I don't want to do nothing, just go, and it's quite difficult to really start a chapter with those like leeches, I must say. A bit hard maybe but I'm sorry for the term, but I really hate those people. But there are some people that really wanted to be there, and that's what I love. That the people that the chapter presented me, that I meet as these people are incredible. They really want to succeed. They really want to meet other people like them. That's incredible. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know if maybe Alejandro had that problem. It's just for asking a question. I don't know, you had the problem that you maybe thought this person was really great for this officer position, and it was totally a failure. I don't know if you have that problem or not.
Not really. I think I'm the worst member of my chapter, so I'm very, very lucky. They're all great, so I just can say thank you to every one of them. But no, I think that is because maybe all university models are kind of different. So our age is maybe a little bit higher. People is studying second degrees or whatever because they just want to. So I think it's different. And no, fortunately I haven't had those.
Amazing. I hope in the future we don't have those.
Yeah, but I mean, I can see your point, Alejandro, in the sense that obviously it's going to be a challenge, and being an officer is not something you do in your free time or 30 minutes every 2 days. So and also in the sense of the three core values of HKN, right? So scholarship, which is obviously important, but also character and attitude. The willingness to step up and to take the responsibility is not something that can be improvised. So I can see how it's important for every team to have people who are willing to put the extra effort in that. But Jaimie, what about you?
Yeah, for sure. I was really afraid that this would be something that I put a year's worth of work into, because it was almost a year from knowing about this society to actually having our installation. But this was a huge undertaking, and a lot of my personal time went towards it. So when I actually went from classroom to classroom, I think a huge part of all this was thanks to just our university being very new. I mean, we had our first class come in not even a decade ago to this university. So we're in a very unique situation where everybody is not set in tradition, as it seems in Spain. So we have this idea that, hey, if you have something new, we're open to hear about it. We want to support that because we don't have a lot here at Florida Poly. So when I was able to go from classroom to classroom, maybe a general meeting from IEEE standpoint, I would just pitch. I would do little pitches. Nancy actually had a presentation. Nancy Austin had a presentation put together. So I kind of took that and made it more into a Florida Poly version of it, because I'm not about to talk for 30 minutes about an honor society. People are going to start sleeping. Me personally, I love it. Not everyone though. So being able to pitch this, and soon enough, I would have, after my little pitch and after the meetings were done or the class was done, I'd have people start coming to me, which was very new. That's how you know you have a great idea, in my opinion, is when people start taking interest in that idea. You don't have to force them onto it. And that's really how I was able to get an amazing team put together. I think that if you want to go alone, you can go very, very fast, very quickly. But if you want to go far, you really have to have a great team. And that's what we're looking to do, is we're looking to be a part of Florida Poly and IEEE, really one of the same for as long as Florida Poly stands. And so it was really all the presenting that I like, and kind of marketing in a way.
Absolutely, and I also think that the fact that your university is quite new, as you were saying, I think it will also help your chapter in building your niche. I mean, you're by any means one of the few maybe organizations in your college, in your campus. So you have the space and you have the time to build a really nice group with lots of tradition and things that will go on every year. So I'm really looking forward to how it will evolve from here. So was it easy for you to find professional members, not only students but also professionals?
Yeah, they're a great question, because Florida Poly actually has two alumni that are actually professors. So two HKN alumni, one of which is Dr. Zakib. He's actually our advisor, and so he came from his chapter as a doctoral student. He was part of their executive board, so got really lucky, honestly, because he was able to bring some of his resources and his knowledge to the table when it came to that. Our department head, Dr. Mohammed Rashid, who I had known for a while, he actually was a big advocate for us as well, and he continues to be. He actually, I think, really good to have a department head on your side, because in the end, he's able to spread the word about the Honor Society, not only to the students, but to everyone underneath them, all of the professors of the Electrical and Computer Engineering Department. So we're looking forward to actually taking his knowledge and our connection to him, and taking hopefully some of these faculty and making them professional members. And that's something that's so great about HKN, and something I haven't seen in other honor societies, is that we are able to take people from, the faculty, as well as outside from maybe local businesses that are making a difference in the community, and we can invite them to be a part of this. It's a really great thing.
Absolutely, and in my experience is exactly the same. If I think of other associations in my campus, I can see how not many of them have that really strong connection with professors, or even professionals, or even people from local startups who are willing to expand and are looking for new people. This is a really, believe, strong point. Because it's useful for both of you. It's useful for your chapter, because you have lots of people who might help in developing new content, new activities, and it's also useful for them, because most times than not they're looking for people who are quite good. I mean, not only from a scholastic standpoint, but also people who you can rely on, people who can perform under stress, under deadlines, or anything that comes to mind. And I believe that HKN provides that. So I can really see how that is a really beneficial collaboration. Now, that being said...
If I might add,
yeah, sure.
If I might add, I believe that one of the things that drew me into HKN was that I felt that this society wasn't it was very scholastic, but it was more than just that. It was more of having a well-rounded student, and being able to say, like, hey, like, we see you, and this is a place for you. It's not just for someone who is book smart, but they also have that communication, that character, that attitude, those three pillars. And that was something that was so important, because for our nerdy society, I would say, probably about 75% of them just go home and play video games. But if you're able to kind of get into this little group of people who try to be more well-rounded, try to do stuff, I think it's super important, and it's something that I really have come to appreciate about this honor society.
Absolutely.
I totally agree. Yeah.
That being said, I would really like to thank you for the hard work you've put into creating a new chapter. a big thank you, not only from me, but on behalf of IEEE HKN. Now, how was the first induction? Were you nervous or were you excited about it? Starting with Alejandro.
Yeah, I don't know if you refer to the first induction to the one we had, like the previous year. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, I was really nervous, I must say. I was also on a trip like Alex here, but I managed to get into a place and be there because in the induction it had to be more formal. But yes, I was really nervous. And I was the president back then, and I still am. And I had to give a speech in front of 100 people. And that's another level, yeah. Because I never before experienced that of speaking to a mass audience, no. And now I give speeches in my local university to students who are not enrolled, and trying to maybe capturing them into the association, because I think there are people, their skills are really valuable. And that's one thing that I really love about the induction. It put my fear of talking to a broad audience out of me, and I learned to speak without being nervous, and it was really amazing. I really, just finishing, I really like to be to not be online, because online I think a lot of the details they're simply not there, and seeing the people there looking at you, wow, that must be a whole lot of experience. And I'd really like to have an induction in physical, not in remote.
Yeah. Let me tell you, it's a really good feeling being there, delivering the induction ceremony. Jaimie?
Yeah, so it was this culmination of so much work, and we had our executive board, and we had our first 10 members, including ourselves, and we invited everyone. We wanted to invite everyone, and we had the president of we had department head of the university, we had Nancy, we had Michael, we had the Etiquette News there for the installation, the first induction. And so when I say we were all there, but it was virtual. It wasn't quite the same, but everyone was dressed up, and it was so much fun. But I gave my speech, and it was something that just made, like, reflecting just in retrospect, it was such a great to bring together so many great people, and been using Honor Society to do that. But my gosh, my heart was just pumping adrenaline, probably like the 4 hours prior to that, even the night before. So definitely just, you're like, oh my gosh, it's actually happening. And then, afterwards you're like, whoa, like that was great and all, but it's kind of like getting your diploma. You did it, all this work, you did it, and you get to celebrate, but now it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
And so you got to do something with that diploma, in this case, do something with the Honor Society. So in a way, it's just so great to get to that point, to have the installation, the first induction, but it's really just the beginning of something that can be so much greater. It's hard to believe, but it has been.
Absolutely. And Alex, your experience?
Yeah, I think mine was quite similar to Alejandro, because it was the same induction ceremony. But I think for us was very special because we're not used to give our solemn word of honor just like this. So it was like very important for us, because doing those things, it was like, okay, this is important. We're doing something that really matters. We are not trying to control of it, because we were not delivering the ceremony. There were Nancy, so Michael and so on, different officers. It was held in English, of course, and it's not our language, and for us in Spain it's not that easy. We have like strong accents and so on. I had to give that speech too. I'm from a part of Spain that we have a very strong accent, and my city is called Albacete, and I always joke saying, okay, my English is not from Albacete, it's from Albacete. So I always do that, and I wanted to do that today too. Sorry. So it was a mix of feelings, because since it was just online, you felt that it was great, but you really felt that something was missing. We had one on-site ceremony this year, and it was good too. It was kind of different because we had those things we felt missing the first time. But anyways, it was cool. Well, very, very. It felt important. I think that's the word for it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Alex, and then the question goes to everyone else. Do you think that our support, by our I mean IEEE-HKN support, helped you in going through the process?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, your support was like awesome. I mean, we didn't feel alone at any time. We always felt like as I said, we were not alone. We knew what we had to do at every single time. So you are not afraid because of that. You're just feeling nervous because the importance of the situation. And I think that's very, very important, because you deliver something and you make us feel well enough to be comfortable, so we could enjoy our ceremony. And that is huge, because you just have one HKN ceremony in your life. So if you can enjoy it because the officers team is delivering well, so thank you so much, because I think I didn't say that to you, or maybe I did, but well, it's never enough. So thank you, and yeah,
yeah, no problem. Alejandro?
Yeah, I found the report to be invaluable. Really, that's the word, invaluable. It was incredible. It helped us a lot, because we were like Nancy tried to guide us also a little bit, but she took so long to get her emails that enough. We had a lot of questions. We didn't know how that worked, and as Alex said, it was here in Spain. We're not used to those ceremonies, like full of honor and so important. That was a huge step here for us. After a lot of work, and your help was the thing that helped us to do a great ceremony, and really enjoyed it. Really have fun. Thanks to the help provided. Without it, I don't know how. I really don't know how would it have gone.
Thank you. And Jaimie, if you want to spend a few words.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Alejandros, I mean, they really hit the nail on the head with that one. It was great. I mean, I would be, hey Michael, how's it going? I've got a few questions. And just, I'm sure I bugged the heck out of this guy during the workday, but, he was there for me. He was constantly giving me something, some advice, or just, helping me with all the questions. So it was great having these points of contact where we were just able to do, just not have any bottlenecks. It didn't feel like there was ever a bottleneck. There was always something to be done, and it just went really smoothly. So I can't paint it.
Okay.
I have one more thing.
Sure, go ahead.
This help your chapter provided was also helpful, not only to the ceremony, but also to establishing a strong bond between the chapters international. Because at first glance it's a bit difficult to really interact with other chapters because they are from other culture and it's like a little bit different. Not so with maybe in Alpha, it's like chapter, they are very similar in terms of culture, but first talking to your chapter and doing like the Kahoot sessions and really speaking to enter the best competition, it's really helpful and help us a lot. And establishing those bonds, I think, is the best point above all.
Yeah, that's a topic that is really dear to me. Obviously, this pandemic has led, to many bad things, very bad situations. But if there's something good that we can take from this past 1.5 years, is that we are not bound to our local community anymore. Everyone right now is doing things virtually, or for the most part virtually, and I think that that's a lesson we can learn. Before, maybe it was, sure, we could do something virtual, but everyone is in person here, so it's not really worth it. Now I believe there will be some differences, so I really would like to encourage chapters to connect with other chapters as well. It might be from very different parts of the world. It might be local chapters belonging to the same IEEE region. It could be really anything, but there are lots of opportunities out there, and it would be a shame not to take those opportunities. So yeah. That being said, obviously starting a chapter is important. It's not an easy task, but it's also crucial to ensure that the good work that you put here is not lost. So my question, starting with Jaimie, would be how did you manage not only to create a group but to keep it active during the pandemic, and how do you make sure that the next set of officer keeps up the good work?
Yeah, this is definitely one of the hardest questions for me, because I feel it in my heart that that this is a great thing that needs to keep going, and I know we have the support of everyone around us, but when it comes to having that drive, there's nothing like the founders. The founders are going to have just a different appreciation for a chapter. So when the founders are gone, how do you keep that passion? How do you keep that flame going, like you said? So, I can speak for the pandemic, saying that September 3rd of 2020 is when we installed this. It was right in the heat of everything. We were all online classes, just a total show. And it's all we've ever known. So I can only imagine that coming back into the real world, starting next semester, we're all going to be back to pre-COVID times. So I can only see us increasing in our capacity as an honor society and having more events and more things to do. And through those events, being able to take this next set of officers, as I'm leaving in December, and just show them everything that HKN means to me, that means to the other members, and just showing them that their place on the board is very important and so vital. I think just giving them that feeling, that passion, and just passing that down, I think that's the most important thing you do as someone just passing the torch.
Thank you for that. Alex?
Yeah, I think I could explain this very easily if I use the same theme with the last question. You asked about your meeting. There was that you made us feel like we were the same team. So I completely agree with Jaimie that it is very difficult to pass that feeling from founders to other people, because if you're the founder, it is like, okay, this is my baby, it was kind of my idea. So it's hard to pass that, but if you make people feel like you are part of the same team from the very first day, so it's not my baby anymore, it's everyone's baby, and make things much more easier, I think. And that's the strategy we're trying to follow here. For example, in Untitled Chapter, we always try to involve people in every decision, so everything is very, very open. And if you want to be more involved, you can be. And if you can or you don't want, or whatever, no problem at all. But you're always informed, and you can always take the decision there, and you can always vote, so you can really decide the direction or or next step. So I think we're working on that. It is not easy because since we're a very new chapter, that thing that from funders against non-funder people, it is very present, because if you are in a chapter with 100 years of story, okay, founders are not there anymore. So everyone is non-funder, but now I think it's a challenge. I think it has great things to do. We have to use those great things to boost the chapter. That's it.
Thank you. And Alejandro, what about you?
Yeah, I think it's just like Jaimie said. It's like really difficult to pass the torch, to like move the spirit of the chapter. But I try to focus not on the present or the past, but on the future. The things that we are going to do, the things that we're capable of. And with the 49 new members joining, we are going to make a lot of things, and we are going to help a lot of people. And that's the thing that is more valuable to me. How the chapter keeps growing, and the officers, the new officers, we are planning like half founders and half non-founders, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But we still have to discuss it. But we'd like to let that flow. If they have to be motivated with the future, with the things that this could be, because nowadays it is what keep us moving on, what keep us looking towards the future, the goal we set.
Thank you. So in a few words, basically empower new people and delegate them so that they can grow into their future role, basically, which I strongly agree with. Yeah, absolutely.
Set a goal and go for it. Look only the future, not to the past, not so much. Maybe to remember the good things, but always look into the future and strive to be better. That's our motto.
Absolutely.
To say.
Absolutely. Thank you. And now for the last question, at least from me, starting with Alex. It's time for reflections, reflecting on this experience. In a few words, what did you learn from it? And do you think that the lessons that you learned might help you in your career?
Well, answering the last part first, I think yes, definitely. And answering the whole question, I think what I have learned is that you can find great people everywhere. You can have different goals, different you can set different milestones and so on. And Etacapanu has like great goals. You can give back to the community, you can give back to the university, you can really show your academic potential, but also the professional is taken into account here. So I think there's a very interesting mix. And I think that the most important, I don't know how to say that, but for me, it is like that mix of things can really be reverted into the community, and Etacapanu is a great place to go. with different goals. You don't have to have like a specific thing. So I think that is the first thing. Of course, it is very valuable for your professional life because you need to deal with different people, different situations. You need to convince people to really exploit their potential, and that is something you are going to use in your professional career, of course.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Alejandro, what about you?
Yeah, I think starting like Alex from the last question, I think it definitely helped my career. Yeah, nice. I'm a much better speaker. I really know how to approach the people much better than before. I said it before. One, I don't want to extend in that space, but that's the thing I value the most that I've learned. But also, I also learned a lot about networking, about meeting different people from different countries. Here, for example, Jaimie from the US, or Sandro and I had a lot of discuss different meetings. Yeah. And also from the Waseda chapter, although there isn't any member here, we've also learned a lot from them, and also different meetings we have done. And those meetings, those networking, I think they're the best, because that's really difficult. It's something from these chapters, from this association, the IEEE-HKN, it's really this, and there's no more. There's no such an association of excellence and constantly meeting new people. It's incredible, and that's the thing I've learned the most, I think, along with speaking to people. Yeah, that's my. Yeah.
Thank you. And last but not least, Jaimie.
Yeah, if there's one thing that I've learned, it's about knowing your audience. Mm-hmm. And knowing how to really market. I didn't think with an engineering degree I'd learn much about marketing, but it's so important in so many other ways than just advertisement. For instance, when doing posters and other sorts of campaigns for the Honor Society, I think I learned a lot more about not only how to sell, say, at a Kapanu on the campus, but now how to sell myself as an individual. Because you really, if you want someone to believe in your product, they first have to believe in the person who's actually selling the product. So it has been super just fulfilling to be able to learn how, someone can just, believe in you, and that they'll follow you, and then they'll say like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about, so I am going to be more apt to actually look into something he is interested in. So I think the biggest part, and I think it's helped me with a lot of interviews for like jobs and for other positions, is just knowing how to sell yourself as a person, because in the end you can make yourself a commodity.
Absolutely. And in a word, what would you tell someone who's potentially looking to start a new chapter? Yeah, Alex, go ahead. Yeah.
Do it. I would say that just do it and enjoy it.
Alejandro?
Nike has some good words.
Yeah.
just do it. You will not regret it. There's no way you can regret it.
Yeah. Totally agree. Don't look at what now is going to cost. Look at what is going to provide and what is going to help. Not only the people, but also yourself. Look for the better, and strive to it. That's normal.
Yeah, those are great words. So let's see if there are some questions from the chat. I see there's a lot of people who are cheering for you, for the three of you, so that is good. Now, I don't see any particularly. I don't see any question from the chat. So I guess I'll simply go to the conclusion, since we had the chance to talk in great detail about your experience, and I think that many valuable insights from you have been delivered today. So I would like to thank you one last time, Jaimie, Alex, and Alejandro, for being our guests today. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. And I would also like to thank everyone who's watching this episode. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming episodes, or if you want to go back and see our previous episodes of the HKN Connection podcast. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Sandra. This has been great.